This video follows on from the previous video about vacuum forming and producing a shell shape. I've got the shell shape open here. I'm going to actually turn this now into a former and a shell and do an assembly of the two parts. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've already saved this as shell, as you can see at the top with the file name. I'm going to go back to the shell feature and I'm going to suppress it. In doing so, I've now got a solid block which is going to fit perfectly inside my shell. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, I'm going to save this as Former. Okay, now the Save As, okay, you'll see now it's called Former. If I now go to File and New and do a new assembly, I should have drawings I can bring in for the Former to start with. I should also be able to insert components, go to my browse and find the shell, and I should be able to bring the two in. Now you can see the dimples look smaller on the shell because obviously it was shelled on the outside of the former when I did it in the previous video, which is how it would look if it was vacuum formed in real life. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line these up by using a mate under my constraints, and I'm going to choose the holes. Because the slides are sloping, it'll be a little bit more difficult to do the concentrics there, so I'm just going to choose that circle there and that circle there and tell it to be concentric, and it should still allow this to move up and down, but it's now pivoting, as you can see. So I need a second circle to stop that from happening, so I'm going to choose that one and that one, and that now won't move other than up and down, it won't swivel. But they are now directly above each other. So if I press Ctrl 7, you'll see now that that is a vacuum form casing above a plug. And I can move that up and down as much as I want, and I'm going to apply some surface finishes to my materials. So I'm going to choose plastic, I'm going to go for a high gloss, and I'll do blue, and I'll do that on the body, and then I'm going to go back to my materials and I'm going to look for my organic materials, which is where I'll find the wood. I'm just going to find some pine just because it will show well in the video. I'm going to select that and choose Former, and at the moment it's only just added colour rather than a rendered finish. So what I need to do now is go to my integrated preview. So I need to go up to my render tools and go to integrated preview. Now if you haven't got your render tools switched on, it's because you need to right click and choose to select it in here. If I turn mine off, you'll notice it's now gone. If I right click on the grey bar somewhere, then render tools can be switched back on. I'm going to go to render tools and I'm going to do integrated preview, and that will apply some better quality rendering to it, and it should start to look like a vacuum forming former and a plastic shell over the top. That's still rendering, you can see the white speckles on the surface changing, and I can still move this upwards further if I wanted to. It will have to take time again to re-render it. Just going to bring that back down a little bit. And although that looks pretty good, it's actually sometimes better to put it into a perspective, because that's how we actually do see things. So I've just changed that to a perspective angle. It's re-rendering, it's just blurry around the edges at the moment. It will sharpen up over a matter of a few more seconds. And there I have my rendered version of a former and a plastic vacuum formed shell.